This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Selling a little or a lot? Do your thing however you cha-ching with Shopify, the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. Get a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/offer23.
'Tis the season to shine with H&M. Discover the holiday collection and find fashionable pieces for your wardrobe or for under the tree. Get inspired and dazzle with this year's glam. From tuxedo styles, bow detailed pieces, impressive prints, and more. From unforgettable looks to unforgettable gifts. With fashion finds to home decor, find it all at H&M. Treat your loved ones and yourself this season. Shop in-store or at hm.com.
Right. I want to talk to my husband about it. And it's interesting because it's almost like a permission ask. And these are badass women. Like, it's not like they aren't taking care, taking care of
they're taking care of shit.
Like, right.
Yeah.
They almost want to ask permission. And I just like challenge them. Like, are we asking for permission or are we asking for support? Like, what are you asking for?
I love that.
Hey girl, imagine a life where you feel supported, connected, and understood. I get it. Being a mom is hard, especially when you're spinning so many plates. We exhaust ourselves trying to create the perfect life for our family. You deserve to enjoy your family without the stress perfectionism brings. On this podcast, I provide practical and relatable life experiences. I teach women quick and easy to use strategies to help them reclaim their identity, reignite their marriage, and enjoy their children. If you're ready to be challenged, then pull up a chair, grab pen and paper, because it's about to go down. I'm Veronica Cisneros, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and this is the Empowered and Unapologetic Podcast. Hey ladies, welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic Podcast. I am your host, Veronica Cisneros. So I'm not quite sure where this episode's going to go. And I say that because this is one of the times that I'm not one of the times, I'm kind of vulnerable all the time, but this is one of the times where I'm actually going to share with you my coach, my personal fitness coach. And we're going to go through some of the battles that I experienced with regards to health and fitness. We're just going to take a deep dive into a lot of struggles that women have. And I have told Sheley, it's game. So whatever things you bring up about the struggles I've personally had, let's go ahead and talk about them, because I want to make sure that not only are we able to go ahead and get through this together, but you guys at least have a resource and tools and a badass coach to help you along the way. So please help me by introducing Sheley. Hey, Sheley.
Hey there. I am so excited to be here, not only with you because you're an absolute badass, but just I know your audience is all like you and I cannot wait to help serve them. So this is going to be a fun, training wheels off conversation.
It's done. It's done. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's totally happening.
Oh yeah.
So tell me, how did you come about this profession? Like, how did you know that this is, cause I know you're a badass across the board. You have things going on with horses, you're working and training with movie stars. You got all these things going. How did you get to this place where you're here serving women like me?
Yeah, no, I love it. I have such a connection to women like you because I am you. I understand the mentality behind it. But let me step back. I spent about 3 years in the financial industry, so heavily, male driven. I kicked all their butts, that.
Oh yeah, you did.
Given. But then I moved over to the medical industry and I actually climbed, those corporate ladders within the medical industry, which at that time was still heavily male driven. That being said, it was like a new challenge for me. So I really loved the opportunity. Well, during that time frame, I got engaged to the love of my life. We bought our first house. We, it was like all the things. And I had a personal health challenge that really put things in perspective for me. So much so that I'm actually blind in this eye as a result of it. I know that you and I have talked about this, but it was ultimately due to stress. So stress weakened my immune system to a virus that we are all susceptible to, that most of us here in our 40s have. My body was not able to like keep it at bay because my stress weakened my immune system. And ultimately that's tied to our health. And it left me blind in one eye. Now, I had a choice to become a victor or a victim in the situation. As a high achiever, you know what that was. I didn't let it stop me. So I kept, climbing those corporate ladders, doing all the things, but I noticed that something was pulling at me. And it was the fact that I could look at everyone around me, all the women that I know were striving for greatness like me, that are moms as well, wives as well, right? And the stress level was just at such an amount that I couldn't not notice it.
Yeah.
But no one talked about it.
No
one. And when you look at like diet and health industry, it's all like, hey, restrict, hey, do this challenge, hey, do this, and you'll be fixed. And I'm like, that's not true because I did it all. So during that time frame, I competed in fitness competitions. I worked with numerous trainers and coaches myself. And I found that there was just such a gap for high performing, high achieving professional women to be able to be healthy and fulfilled and not feel restricted, and actually look in the mirror, recognize themselves, and realize like, hey, if I actually take care of myself, it helps me take care of everybody else, right? That includes family, that includes my business, that includes my employees, that includes everybody. So when I take care of myself, I'm better for everyone. And so I'm kind of in this like wheels off little area because you know me, Veronica, I don't do diets. I will not do diets, right? And really where a lot of our health is centered is on mindset. And I pull in a lot. You mentioned the horses. I pull in a lot of like my athletic background that I'm still, you can see, still competing in horses. My daughter is now following it. My son competes in gymnastics. Like we're a highly competitive family. I pull a lot of that mindset into this, and that's where we get the sustainable results. Ultimately.
I actually did a podcast episode about my experience and, what that was like. And one of the things that I had mentioned in the beginning with working, in our work together, I was like, okay, what the hell is she going to teach me? And I even said this to you, like, okay, mindset coach, like, are you for real? Like, how are you going to teach me about mindset? Like I could teach it all day. Right. However, one thing I didn't realize was what my relationship with my health, like not, and I say health because it ultimately was what my relationship with health was like. I didn't know how bad it was until I truly started working with you, and you helped me look at it from a different perspective, which hell yeah, was a complete mindset shift that I had never experienced before. And, like I said in the beginning, I definitely doubted this. I was like, okay, wait a minute. No, obviously you came highly recommended. And it was like, okay, I'm going to try this because everything else I've tried, it's not working and I'm not able to sustain. And I'm tired of, I can hide things well. I can hide, I feel like, fuck yeah, I'm sexy and I'm able to go ahead and say that. However, my time's in the closet. It was like, fuck, dude, I don't know what to wear. I'm gonna have to wear a dress again because none of my pants fit me, and like all of these, I didn't want to feel that way anymore. And I knew something had to give, but I didn't know what to do. And I didn't want to go into the no carb, no sugars. Like I didn't want to restrict anymore because I knew that if I restricted, then I would go into the fuckets. And what I discovered when working with you is I would go into feast mode. Like totally feast mode. And I would eat way more than Willie, because it was like, fuck it. This is all going to be taken from me and I need to eat the shit right now. And then I'll feel like shit tomorrow, but then it'll be over. And I'll be back on my game with not eating carbs, not eating sugars, not eating anything, not eating whatever. Right. And so How is it? Because diet culture is so huge in our society, right? It's like, it's huge, it's big, especially here in California. So how is it that you were able to create this plan, this program for us women that didn't involve restriction?
Yep. And I love that. And we're going to go into some examples here with you today because you've offered. And, you know, a lot of it is trial and error, right? I've never asked you to do anything I didn't already do, right? So like that is like a big thing for me as well. And, you know, the one thing about a high achiever mindset, right, is that we are literally willing to let ourselves 100% go to the side so that we can win, whether it's win in our marriage, win in our, you know, as a mother, win in our careers. And we have that mentality that like, we have to push ourselves aside so that we can go. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I noticed the biggest gap is that it doesn't have to be a silo either or, it can be and. But you need someone to be able to show you the gaps, right? Show you the opportunities that we can incorporate health. The other thing is that, you know, I myself, when I was doing the fitness competitions, talk about restriction, right? I was standing on stages with girls that were 18 and I was 35 with 2 kids.
Yeah.
Right.
You rock that shit though. You rock that shit though.
I mean, listen, I could pick apart, there was lots that I could go over. But the thing is that that's an unrealistic expectation. There's a lot more life that I have lived than they have at that point. Right. And so I need to honor that and make sure that my body feels safe to be able to release weight, to release stress, to be able to be in a good situation. So there's a lot of life experience here that actually there's over a decade of personal life experience, you know, traveling 70% of the time for a corporate job, leaving that corporate job, going out on my own, doing all the things, raising a family, building a house, competing with horses. Like there's a lot going on so that it is life experience that I know how you think so I can understand how to implement it. But, you know, a lot of it comes down to, and I just actually shared this on a story recently, is the fact that I loved you and a lot of my other women like you, because it's no BS.
Yeah.
Give it to me. Right. And it's no BS both ways. Like I loved it when you were like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I
really said that to her, ladies. I really said no shit. She's not making this shit up. I really said that. I don't trust you.
And it's like, I didn't take that. That was not me. You were not attacking me.
No,
you didn't
not
trust diets or the diet culture in general, because you've had such bad experiences that did not yield results. Right. Or maybe they yielded short-term results, which I get it. I wouldn't trust that either. So the fact that you were so cut to the chase, no BS, I don't trust you. I was like, listen, at the end of the day, we will get there, but I can't say anything. I have to show you. I have to show you how we do it. And it was asking those questions. But I will say one thing too, Veronica, that stands out in women like us is not only are we going to say no BS, right? But we're also going to take a little bit of constructive criticism or a certain question that might hit us. We're going to reflect on it in a much better way. And you being a therapist, it was just so phenomenal because you could talk through it. You understood a certain question I would ask you.
Yeah.
You stopped. You didn't push it aside. You were ready to take that question on and really understand that it was obviously coming from a place of love, that I understood where you were, but I knew where we needed to get you. And I mean, you tell me, Veronica, it is, if we didn't do the mindset work.
Yeah.
Right? And it was hard. It wasn't easy.
No.
It was hard. If we didn't do that, you wouldn't be where you are today.
Not a fucking chance in hell. Not at all. And I can say that because even now, I'm able to kind of look at things and I'll quickly explain where I was at before. Before I would look at the menu and I'd get so excited because it's fuck, queso fundido, green enchiladas, fucking, my mouth is watering right now. Chips and guacamole, and then fuck yeah, I'm going to know if this is a good restaurant, good Mexican restaurant, if they have good rice. So fuck yeah, rice, beans. There's no salad. Nobody's eating salad, right? Like none of that's happening. And I'd get so excited. But then there'd be that other part that would say, well, fuck, dude, you have this event coming up and shit, you can't eat carbs. You can't eat carbs because you're a fat ass. You can't eat carbs. I didn't even realize that that's how I was talking to myself. Or I remember, and I know we'll get into this in a minute, but I remember for me, it was, I didn't even fucking realize that I wasn't even eating throughout the day. And it wasn't like I was purposely restricting, but I didn't realize I wasn't eating or drinking water. And this wasn't to lose weight. It was because my schedules are literally jam-packed. If you look at my calendar, you're like, that's for 4 people, right? And it's like, no, it's for me, but I will figure it out. I didn't even realize any of those things. And so when I would go home, there was a fucking routine. I would go home, there'd be chips, there'd be cheese, salsa, and I'd make nachos. And I remember sharing that with you. It was like, dude, yep, fucking ate nachos again, and it was this repetitive pattern. Had I not done that mindset work, where I was able to go ahead and challenge a lot of my distorted thoughts, a lot of the thoughts that I would come up with that I didn't even realize I was having. But had I not been able to do that, there's no way I'd be at where I'm at today. Mm-hmm. A perfect example, Martha and I went out to dinner last night. Martha's another.
Love Martha. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Martha knows Sheley. I don't want to give too much information out, but yeah, Martha and I went out for dinner last night, and usually I'd look at the menu and be like, oh, fuck, dude, I'm screwed. But this time it was like, no, what do I really want to eat right now? What do I really want to eat right now? And I think Martha ordered flautas, and it's like, fuck yeah, good for her. And for me, it was like, what am I in the mood for? Mm-hmm. And usually it would be, whenever I'd go to a restaurant, it would be all of the things that for damn sure I'm not going to cook, but all of the things that I want to celebrate and I want to eat because I'm out. So I'm giving myself permission to eat out. And I looked at it and it was like, yeah, they had enchiladas and yeah, they had other things, but it was like, what do I really want to eat right now? And one big thing that you and I worked on is, how do I want to feel tomorrow? How do I want to feel after? Mm-hmm. And I never look at the soups. The soups, I don't look at the fucking soups. Right? That's just not something I'm drawn to. Yeah. Right? What the fuck? I'm going to a restaurant. Why am I going to eat soup? I'm not 5 and I'm not 6, or I'm not sick. And so I looked and they had this caldo de res. And it was like, oh my God, that'd be so bomb to eat right now. Caldo de res. But it was like, I was actually listening to what I wanted to enjoy. I wasn't restricting. I wasn't doing any of those things, but it was like, what did I want to enjoy? And I was able to eat whatever I wanted to. And usually I would definitely finish the plate, 1,000% finish the plate. And that wasn't the case. I took some home. Fuck, I forgot it at home and Willie's going to eat it. Bastard.
He always eats it. You got to bring it to the office, straight to the office.
I know, exactly. And the restaurant wasn't too far from my office. But yeah, that mindset, all that to say, that mindset work was so important. I didn't realize how horrible I was talking to myself. I didn't realize a lot of what was essentially holding me back from taking care of myself, which had to do a lot with my past and my upbringing.
That's a big thing.
So important. So important.
It's so important. And it's something that I don't think we want to necessarily realize or acknowledge, right? Because it's hard. It's hard sometimes to go back there. But once we understand that, that's one thing with high achievers, is that we need to understand the why to be able to take sustainable action. If someone says eat this calorie intake, do this workout, do this, we'll check the box. Oh, hell yeah.
And I've done that.
The box, yeah. But it only lasts for a certain amount of time, because then after we're like, well, but why? But why? Right? Yes. It's just for your business. Why do you want me to make these extra calls? Why do you want me to hire that person? What we understand, once we understand, we take it on. Right. And that was a big thing. And that's what I do is we do the mindset, but then you understand food very differently than you did before. right? You've already said it a few times right now, like, oh, I can't have the carbs. Oh, cut out the sugar. Oh, cut out all this stuff, right? Because that's like normal diet culture telling us that, right?
Absolutely.
But like carbohydrates are incredibly important, especially for the female body, but especially for someone that's a high achiever that needs to keep performing. You need energy. That is your fastest form of energy. And so now that you understand nutrition from a very different standpoint, you are now empowered at a restaurant to not go feast, but to actually be like, how do I want to feel?
Yep.
Okay. What do I want? What have I had for today? Okay. You know what? This makes great sense. And I know it's going to be a really good choice. It's going to be amazing. Like I'm not feeling left out or anything, and that you can go there. So, I love that, you know, the fact that we were able, Veronica, to kind of go back to some of your past and be able to understand some of your childhood and how that drove some of the decisions that you were making and how you talk to yourself, you know?
1,000%. 1,000%. So with all of that, and I'm going to tell you right now, we went deep. We went deep very, very quickly because I was like, fuck this. I don't have any time to waste. I want to do this and I want to do this. I want to do this right. And so submission was huge. It was really difficult, you know, right? Because I often, and I mentioned this to you, I often want to be the teacher. I want to go ahead and find out where's the insecurity or where's the flaw. And the minute I find it with any of my teachers, like I'm going to go ahead and go there. And then now it's going to be where I'm going to be helping you. And that's what I was so used to. And that's something I've done since I was a kid, you know, and I was tired of doing. And with the work that you and I did together, it was like, I'm literally going to be the freaking student and I'm going to hold on to this. Through our journey, one thing that came up, and it often comes up for couples, is, you know, you have most of the time, sorry fellas, but most of the time you have the woman that is like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and take the steps towards change. And men usually lag a bit. And so I started this process, and right away Willie's like, you know, well, if you're trying to cut weight, you know, then you got to cut like carbs. And it's like, screw you, Willie. Like, I'm not going to cut carbs, damn it, because I have just learned.
God bless Willie. God bless Willie.
I know. I can't wait for you to meet him. But I'm like, you know, screw you, Willie. Like, no, I'm not going to cut carbs, you know? And I remember being so defensive about my carbs. Like, don't you fucking touch my carbs. But I remember that, like, I'm doing these things because he and I had both gained weight. And so here I am, you know, I'm working out for my 15 minutes. And I'm like, honestly, you guys, when Sheley had recommended, Veronica, I just want you to work out just 15 minutes. I was like, I'm not a little bitch. 15 minutes? Are you freaking kidding me? What am I going to do in 15 minutes? I'm probably going to burn, 5 calories? That's a waste of time. And she's like, Veronica, just work out for 15 minutes. I don't give a shit when you do it. I just want you to do it.
Well, so you like a true achiever. Do you remember? You were like, oh, I was like, how many days a week? And you were like, like 5.
Yeah. I could totally fucking do 5 days.
Really?
Yeah.
5? Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And I think we got it down to 2. I was like,
yes,
no, I think we work out 2 days a week, 15 minutes each.
That's it.
And we had like a specific regimen on like what you were going to do. And that's it.
Yep. And so I'm doing that, right? And I'm feeling like all motivated. And with this, and I want to definitely get into this with you, with this, there was a little bit of like, okay, fuck, here I am. I'm the one doing this. I'm working out. My husband's over here eating these, you know, all of this shit. And I'm, you know, I don't want my kids to do the same thing. I want my husband to work out with me. But I also don't want to take care of anybody anymore. So if he fucking works out, awesome. If he doesn't, well, I'm not going to be his babysitter. And it was so crazy because this was such a trip. I don't remember how far into it we were, but maybe it was a couple weeks or a month. I don't remember. But all of a sudden, Willie ends up telling me, hey, so I signed up and I have a trainer. And I was like, oh shit, babe, good for you. This is so amazing. This is so awesome. And then he started telling me, okay, so I have like 18 alarms per day and I'm going to eat this time and I'm not allowed to eat. I'm not going to eat any processed foods and, you know, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I was like, fuck, like that sounds like that sounds like prison. And I remember having that conversation with you, like Willie's eating at like 6:00 in the morning, making his eggs, because he had like so many times. He still has the fucking alarms. That's another session. But like there was all of these, right? There was all of these alarms going off, and he's eating eggs with spinach. I was like, that looks fucking gross, and here I am, eating what I want to eat. And I wasn't overindulging. I didn't feel restricted. And that was so big. And I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I have to state this real quick. That was the biggest part for me, Sheley, was that I'm no longer going to restrict myself from living and eating the things that I want to eat. I'm no longer going to do that. Like, it was so freaking freeing. Like, it was just like, it's like lighter weights. It was so lighter weights. But what I noticed was Willie started to go ahead and try to dictate how I was going to, go through my process. So tell me a little bit about what you see with regards to couples, when women start this process and go down this path.
I love this. I love this question because it typically comes up, right? They're like, well, do you do couples or do you do this? And, I like to just focus on the woman first. And I think that it's a very interesting question, and it can be a very interesting dynamic. And as a marriage therapist, I know that you have a lot to add to this, but I have one specific example from you that I'd like to share. And that was, it was after Willie had started, like he had hired his person, right, to do his restrictive diet.
Mine's better.
And that's fine. He can do his thing. And,
I'm all mine's better.
I mean, he's military, like, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I love you. I love you, Willie. Haven't met you, but we're good. Do you remember the morning when you were like, it was kind of a rough morning and Willie had told the girls, like, get a bagel and like go. And you were yelling to Willie, like, no, tell them to eat oatmeal. They got to eat oatmeal, not the bagel. And it was like an argument kind of in the morning between you and Willie. Right. Yeah. And what Willie said, right, because you told me what Willie said, is that he's like, hey, it's a carb, just like the oatmeal. Yep. And I sided with Willie. Do you remember this? I was like, Willie's actually not wrong. Like, it's actually true. And do you remember what I said to you?
Refresh my memory.
I
remember this conversation.
As the mom of the household, right? Like the man, like he can be the protector. He is going to provide. He is going to do his thing. But at the end of the day, mom leads.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
And I said, that's fine. Let him tell the girls to eat bagels. That's fine. You go make what you're going to eat. The girls will watch mom, the leader, and they will learn to make choices like mom.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of that can happen is like, dad can be like this and mom is like this. And that can cause a lot of friction. And at the end of the day, you can only control yourself. And if you control yourself in the way that is empowered and making great choices, everyone else will watch and they will soon follow mom. They will soon follow the leader, which is you.
Yes.
So that was like a big morning that I was like, because I knew it caused some friction. And I was like, he's not wrong. He wasn't wrong in what he said, but it was not an opportunity for friction. It was an opportunity for you to lead.
Yes. That's one thing that I appreciated about our work together is you were able to challenge me in so many ways. However, when you mentioned that, this is where Willie's at, and based off of what you do, your family will follow. And I know, ladies, like, as you're hearing that, it's like, no, that's not true. That's, I've led so many times and I've done this, and it's like, yeah, but you forced it. Like, let's just call it what it is. You forced it, and it worked for 5 seconds. But the only reason why it only worked for 5 seconds was because you yourself didn't even believe in it to begin with. You didn't believe you were capable. You lacked the skills, and you probably didn't have a guide. So yeah, it fell to shit, and it fell to shit because of that, for that reason. You didn't believe it, and you didn't carry it out.
Yeah.
I was really thankful for that because it did help me look at things from a different perspective, you know, and I'm not saying that, from that point forward, because mom leads, mom's in charge of everything, and now I'm like carrying everybody,
No.
that's not at all what you're saying. And I want to make sure, I clarify that. That's not at all what you're saying. What you're saying is do what you need to do for you. That's going to bring you joy. That's going to get you to the next step, the path that you want to go down, regardless of where everybody else is at. And it's so true. Everybody else will follow. I didn't drink water. And I know this is crazy, but it's so fucking true. I remember, and I shared this with you, I had a conversation with William. Usually I'll call him in between my sessions, and it's usually when I'm going to the bathroom. We have such a loving relationship. And,
Perfect.
It was, right? And so it was like 2:30, and he's like, holy shit, you've been busy. And I'm like, yeah, I have. I've been really busy. And, it's like, this is first, I even said it. I was like, this is the first time I'm going pee. He's like, what? You've been there since 8. And I'm like, oh shit. And it dawned on me, wait a minute. This is the first time I'm going pee. This is the first time I'm going to the bathroom. And it's like 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, how much water have you had? And I was like, well, I haven't drank water. And he's like, why don't you have water? I forgot my water bottle. Veronica, you have water bottles for your clients and your, anybody in the waiting room. Why don't you take some? Oh, because I don't have time. And it was you really helping me see, like, no shit, Veronica, like, you're not eating, you're not drinking, like, nothing is happening, but yet the expectation is for you to perform. I realized once I started integrating all of those habits, the kids now walk around with their water bottles.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember your story about Disneyland? Taking the kids to Disney? Like, you were like, water was like such a priority for you in going to Disneyland, and the girls had it. Right?
The girls had it. Hell yeah. Everybody had their backpack. Everybody had their water bottle. Mm-hmm. And everybody finished their water bottle because I'm drinking their water bottle. I don't know if that's like making them thirsty or whatever, but it's theirs. It's easily accessible, but it is something modeled. Mm-hmm. Right? Which I love.
I know looking for the right therapist can be challenging. However, feeling overwhelmed and disconnected is even harder. Life is filled with several twists and turns, some more severe than others. We do our best to handle them as they come and find ourselves at a loss, not knowing what to do or who to turn to. The clinicians here at Outside the Norm Counseling are here to help. We are here to assist you through this time of need. Together, we will identify your strengths and goals and teach you healthy coping skills. Together, we will develop a plan to help you live the life you want to live. Our team is compassionate, genuine, and we take a great deal of pride in providing an empathetic, non-judgmental approach to all of our clients. It's time. You've waited long enough, whether it be for you, your child, or if you're in need of a couple session. We are highly trained clinicians ready to guide you. Schedule an appointment now by calling 951-395-3288. Again, that number is 951-395-3288. We're looking forward to meeting you and being a part of your journey.
What other things would you say get in the way for couples with regards to women? I don't want to say trying to get on the path because we're going to do it, ladies. But what would you say is like preventing us from taking this all the way?
You know, I think a big part of it, and I know this was harder for you to even like take on in the beginning, is to take time for yourself. I think so often that as women, and you know, if we're running businesses or climbing that corporate ladder or doing whatever, taking care of our families, is like we're giving, and then we don't take care of ourselves. And the fact of like thinking like, I'm going to do this for me, it feels initially very selfish.
Yeah.
Right? And because that guilt and that selfish is there, then immediately we talk ourselves out of it before we even give ourselves the opportunity to do it. So I think that is a huge thing that, you know, prevents us from doing it, is because we're so used to giving that actually taking care of ourselves seems selfish, when in reality, it's the most selfless thing you can do, because if you take care of yourself, that makes you a better business owner. It makes you a better leader. It makes you a better mom. It makes you a better wife. Like, you are better in every area when you actually put yourself first. And that's the hardest thing, I think, for anyone to do. And, you know, one thing too, Veronica, I want to point out, and I've had this conversation recently with a couple women, is, you know, they'll be like, oh, I want to talk to my husband about it. And, you know,
oh God, I love that you brought this up. Yes.
Right. I want to talk to my husband about it. And it's interesting because it's almost like a permission ask. And these are like, these are badass women. Like, it's not like they aren't taking care, you know, they're
taking care of shit.
Like, right.
Yeah.
They almost want to ask permission. And I just like challenge them. Like, are we asking for permission, or are we asking for support? Like, what are you asking for?
I love that. I love that you just said that. Yes.
You know, is that what you're seeing? Because it's like that permission thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, no, you support everybody else. It is now time for you to ask support from them, for you to just have a certain amount of times. I mean, Veronica, like, our time together, we had our call weekly, but then we had like some text messaging, but it's not like you putting yourself first in our time together pulled from anything else. I don't think it. No. I mean, you tell me, did that pull from anything else that you're doing in your family or
not at all? Not at all. I think the part to that, to kind of like to validate your point right now, is not only are we looking for support, but there's also this part that we don't believe that it's possible, because none of us have ever experienced it. I mean, how many diets? I mean, I could tell you, I've gone on like a shitload of diets, you know, Atkins, you name it. And so because I've done 75 hard, I did 75 hard, right? And it's like, okay, well, I can continue this habit because I did it for 75 days. Bullshit. You know, it's something that we'll go ahead and do to check off that list, but it's not something that we believe is truly sustainable and will have for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, I'm looking to him like, are you going to support me through this? Because I do need somebody to hold me accountable, because I don't believe in myself, you know?
And that's the thing, is like, sometimes we need that support, right? And it needs to come from a family member, but sometimes it needs to come from someone that is not so close.
Yes.
Right. But that has been in the shoes. And that's the thing where I think it's hard to hire somebody. And it's quite frankly, like, I have a business coach, right? Like, I am all for it, you know, that we need to have people that have already been in our shoes, that are leveling up in various ways. And I was just having this conversation this week that I'm not like a true fitness or health coach. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not me. I'm going to teach you nutrition. We are definitely going to talk about that, but it's more about your performance. I want you to be able to perform at the highest level possible with everything that you have going on. But that only starts with you putting yourself first, right? And understanding the skills that you need to be able to get there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you were drinking water, like, now.
I know, girl. I know.
Like, I remember when you told me, you were like, I don't drink water till 3. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a true story. Yeah.
I mean, it was a very true story. And, I remember when you told me that, but it was like, you didn't really understand the benefits of water.
No.
Right? Like, water is one of the most amazing things ever. But like, once I give you those benefits and the why, as like a high achiever, you were like, oh, well, dang, I am a high achiever. I need to do this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And now it's like part of your habit. And so it's like incorporating habits. And it was always like, do you remember how we incorporated breakfast in with you?
Yes, on the road.
I was like, let me understand your day. And like, Veronica took me through her day, and I wasn't like, okay, well, like, move this patient back, or this couple back, or this session back, or do this. I was like, what do you have? You're like, it's 12 minutes from home to work. And I was like, great. Yep. There's your opportunity. There's where we're going to eat. So it's like finding the opportunities to be able to do it so that our mind can't tell us it's not possible. Because I'm telling you, it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you can take us through a couple steps to help us prioritize our weight. the holidays are coming up. Like literally, I can't believe we're in December. It's like so crazy. The holidays are here. What steps can these women take right now to prioritize their health?
Yep. Yeah. No, I absolutely love this. So, right now there's a lot, I've seen some of these like little black dress ads, like, hey, get your little black dress by the time the holiday party happens or what have you, or 14-day challenge or 30-day challenge or what have you. The best thing that you can do right now is, number one, increase your water intake. Increase your water intake, because you're going to be eating out. You're going to be having the parties, the cocktails, all the things. That water is going to help flush your system and get your body to release excess toxins that you don't need. So that would be number one. Number two, I'm going to say, is to give yourself some flexibility, right? Because if we have strict parameters, right? Like I'm working out 4 days a week for only 45 minutes and like, this is what I do or I don't do it. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, between like, I have like band concerts with school, with the kids, and client meetings and holiday parties and travel and like all the things. If I hold that on me, I'm going to make myself feel worse. So that I need to be understanding and give myself a little grace and a little flexibility so that I can say, you know what? This week I'm working out 2 times and it looks like I'm going to be able to get in 20 minutes each time. I'm going to maximize my effort on those 20 minutes. And that's what I'm going to do. And as an achiever, that feels good, right?
Oh, girl, it feels so good. This morning, to interrupt you really, really quickly. This morning, I woke up later than I had wanted to. And it was like, I'm going to do 15-minute workout, like literally going to do 15-minute workout. It ended up being like 25 minutes, but it was like, holy shit, like feeling on top of the world, checked it off the list. I love that you said that. And that's a really, really big step. Sorry, carry on.
No, I love it. I love it. Cause it's like, I could see it. You know what I mean? It's like, we want to achieve. When we don't, it feels horrible. And all we do is talk bad ourselves. And we didn't really get to dive into that today, but we did some really great work to move past that and really understand why that was happening. But I think just giving yourself that flexibility, set new parameters over this next little bit here so that you can still achieve and feel that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And what I'll say, Veronica, is actually in my link tree, like on my social media right now, I actually have a holiday thrive guide. I love it. Let's share it. So it's 5 simple steps. I just gave you 2 of them, but 5 simple steps to be able to really thrive, because so many people, I hear the word survive, right? Like, let's just survive the holidays. I mean, like, give me a break. And especially with like family, like throw family in there. Like I feel you ladies, cause I'm there too. It's like that survival mode. I don't want you to survive. I want you to thrive. And so these are 5 simple steps that anyone can incorporate into it. And actually I give 2 recipes. So when you're going to holiday parties and stuff, one of my key things that I always talked about, and we talked about this, was make sure that you have something to eat. Well, if you bring something that's yours, you get to decide that. Right. So I give you 2 recipes as like a bonus for signing up. Of course, this is, I'm asking for your email address and I'm going to give you all of this value in return. So I would encourage everybody to go over there and download that.
Hell yeah. How do we get it? How do we get this guide?
Yeah. So if you actually just go over and you follow me on Instagram at Sheley Brien, it's SheleyBrien. Parents made it hard on spelling my name, but I'm sure Veronica will link it in the show.
We'll put it in the show notes.
In my link tree, it's just right there. You throw in your email address. It gets sent right to your email. It's a quick read and a quick implement, right? So I'm not about BS, like do all this for free, check all this stuff. No. These are things that you can do today to be able to feel empowered as opposed to powerless, right? Walk into the holiday party feeling like your daughter, you've had a couple birthday parties now that it's like, definitely. You walk into these parties, you're hosting all these guests and like, you got this. Like, this isn't like, I'm going to feed or I'm going to do any of this other stuff. Like, you know what you're doing there. It's a much different feeling. And it's like, you made better memories because of that.
Yes. Yes. I loved it. And it's crazy because, and I haven't shared this yet, but it's crazy because the weight keeps on coming off. Like it's like literally like holy shit. Like, I think I'm at 10 right now. I lost 10 pounds. And it's like, oh my God, holy shit, I lost 10 pounds.
But have you restricted at all?
No, girl, I have not. I had chips and salsa last night, and I had ceviche, and I had my caldo de res. But no, like, and that's the thing. It doesn't even, it's kind of crazy because it's like, how is this, like, this isn't supposed to happen because I'm eating carbs. This isn't supposed to happen because, you know, I had a cookie or whatever the hell I did. This isn't supposed to happen. You're supposed to like gain weight. And one of the primary reasons why it's happening is definitely shifting that mindset and being able to have that guide, you know, talk me through this so I didn't get in my own way. Yep. As we wrap up, what is one thing you want these women to know? Married women, what is one thing you want women to know?
Is that you're worth it. You are freaking worth it, right? Yeah. You're worth the investment in yourself. You're worth the time investment in yourself to be able to feel better. You know, I just received a message on Instagram, and it's actually a gal that I knew a while ago in corporate America that had reached out, and she's like, I'm sick of dieting, or I'm sick of eating healthy and working out 5 to 6 days a week and looking at myself and hating myself.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it.
Killing her.
And that's the thing is, like, you don't have to feel that way anymore. Diet culture, right? And it's about ready to come rearing in, guys, in January. So wherever you're listening to this, like Q1 diet culture, like you need to buy this program and this program promises this results. It's all BS. I've lived it. It's BS.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Like you're living it right now. The thing is that you are worth the investment in you, in both financially as well as time, to be able to change your mindset that you never diet again. Yes. And that you have the energy to perform at a high level, whether it's for your job, your family, your business, your employees, whatever it is. You taking care of you only drives everything else so much higher.
Absolutely. Sheley, thank you so much. Yeah. So much. I feel like I had another private session, but thank you so much for being on. And I'm going to tell you, like, holy shit, have you changed my life? And I'm so thankful for you and that no bullshit attitude and that, like, really wanting to go ahead and help and serve people without giving them Band-Aids, without giving them bullshit. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're so sweet. This has seriously been my honor. I hope your audience loves this. Veronica, you are amazing. What you are doing right now and what I know you're going to do, I'm so excited to watch. It's going to be amazing.
Super excited. Thank you again.
Thank you.
We can all use a little help in our marriage, especially when it comes to communicating. I have created a guide just for you. And guess what? It's 100% free. I will give you practical tips and easy to use strategies to apply right now. That's right, right now, today. You all know I'm a huge advocate for you mamas, and I am on a mission to help you experience true connection and stress-free living. Ladies, we are setting our marriages up for success. It starts with you. You will find this freebie here in my show notes or go to empoweredandunapologetic.com/guide. The information I will be providing you is next level, and people pay good money to get these tips that I will be giving you for free. Don't forget to share this with a friend who needs it. What's up, ladies? Just want to let you guys know that your ratings and reviews for this podcast are greatly appreciated. If you love this podcast, please go to iTunes right now, write a review, rate the episode, and subscribe. Don't forget to share it with your friends.
Hey there. This is Casey McGuire Davidson, host of the Hello Someday podcast. I'm an ex-red wine girl turned life coach who helps busy women change their relationship with alcohol. I spent 20 years climbing the corporate ladder while drinking a bottle of wine a night to unwind. In the Hello Someday podcast, my goal is to teach you the tried and true secrets of creating and living a life you don't want to escape from. Each week, I'll bring you tools, lessons, and conversations to help you drink less and live more. I'll teach you how to navigate our drinking-obsessed culture without a buzz and how to turn the decision to stop drinking from your worst-case scenario to the best decision of your life. You can find new episodes of the Hello Someday podcast every Thursday, wherever you listen, and I hope you check it out.
It's easy to blame ourselves for our struggles with alcohol. We see people around us being able to control their drinking without any consequences, yet no matter what we try, we can't seem to figure it out for ourselves. My name is Jillian Teets, and I am the host of the Sober Powered podcast, where I use my biochemistry background to explain the latest research in addiction and help you understand both why you drink the way you do and how to develop the skills and mindset you need to find freedom from alcohol. I discuss topics like why we think about our drinking 24/7, why we have no off switch, and why we crave alcohol. If you're struggling with your drinking or you know someone who is, then I hope that you will check out the Sober Powered podcast. New episodes every Friday. See you there.
I know we've been taught that motherhood requires alcohol. I know we've been taught not to question our relationship with alcohol until we've lost everything. And I know we've been taught that if we do dare to examine our relationship with alcohol, we need to head straight to AA and declare ourselves an alcoholic who is powerless to alcohol forever. But what if all that isn't true? That's definitely not my story. I'm Suzanne, the host of the Sober Mom Life podcast. I'm an influencer who stopped drinking in January 2020, and since then, I've been telling the truth about motherhood, influencing, alcohol, and sobriety. If you suspect deep down that glass or 3 of wine at night might just be making motherhood harder, well, you're right. Come and join me as I chat with other sober and sober-curious moms. Let's laugh, cry, and normalize sobriety together, all while we reheat our coffee for the 4th time today. I know we've been taught that motherhood requires alcohol. I know we've been taught not to question our relationship with alcohol until we've lost everything. And I know we've been taught that if we do dare to examine our relationship with alcohol, we need to head straight to AA and declare ourselves an alcoholic who is powerless to alcohol forever. But what if all that isn't true? That's definitely not my story. I'm Suzanne, the host of the Sober Mom Life podcast. I'm an influencer who stopped drinking in January 2020, and since then, I've been telling the truth about motherhood, influencing, alcohol, and sobriety. If you suspect deep down that glass or 3 of wine at night might just be making motherhood harder, well, you're right. Come and join me as I chat with other sober and sober-curious moms. Let's laugh, cry, and normalize sobriety together, all while we reheat our coffee for the 4th time today.
Addiction impacts all of us. Addiction's consequences run through all of us. From ourselves to our loved ones and through our communities, addiction creates so much loss and grief. My name is Dwayne Osterlin, and I'm the host of the Addicted Mind podcast, a show featuring personal stories, expert guests, and vital information about addiction and addiction recovery. We'll talk with leading treatment providers to discuss the latest research and treatment options for this devastating disease and advocate for mental health awareness. We discuss topics like the importance of creating a community of support, to helping loved ones, to some of the latest research on psychedelic medicines. The Addicted Mind podcast has been about creating hope, listening to stories of many amazing people that have overcome addiction and are thriving. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, subscribe to the Addicted Mind podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or check out theaddictedmind.com. New episodes every Monday. See you there.
I'm Madeline, and I'm the host of the Happiest Sober podcast. I got sober in my 20s after a decade of gray area drinking, and the greatest plot twist of all time was realizing that alcohol, the thing that I thought made my life the most happy and fun and exciting, was actually the exact thing preventing me from living my happiest and best life. My mom is 40 years sober, and she joins me on my podcast very often. I like to call her my part-time co-host, and I also bring you solo episodes where I share my top tips, tricks, and mindset shifts in sobriety, and lots of how-tos for navigating all the things sober, from weddings to parties to holidays to bachelorette parties to trips. I'm also joined by so many guests who come on and share their sober stories, and they're all so inspiring. I'm here to show you that life doesn't end when you quit drinking. In fact, it's very much the opposite. And no matter what your relationship was with alcohol, life can be the absolute happiest when you're sober. New episodes come out every Tuesday. You can listen to Happiest Sober podcast wherever you get your podcasts.